As with most things in life, sailing on Virgin Voyages is better with friends. But there's a few things you need to know if you're traveling as a group, because there is a number of things that can really trip you up if you're traveling with more than one cabin in your group. If we haven't met before, I'm David from VV Insider, which is a website that's dedicated to Virgin Voyages, all the information, the guides, and the news that you'll need to plan your perfect trip on board the 4 Virgin Voyages ladyships. Personally, we've sailed on board over 23 times, and most of those times have been with a larger group. And when I say group, I mean anything that's more than just one cabin. So this ranges from just you as a couple traveling with another couple, all the way up to a huge number of people. Maybe you're celebrating a wedding or an anniversary and you have a number of cabins. Well, these tips are designed to cover all eventualities. We're going to take a look together to make sure that we perfect the booking process, but also take a look at some hints and tips of what to do when you get on board to make sure that you all have the best time traveling as a group. So there's lots to cover together, so let's jump right in. VV Insider is the #1 resource for the latest Virgin Voyages info, guides, and news. From picking the perfect cabin to booking dining, or simply just making the most of your voyage and saving money while you do it, VVinsider.com has helped thousands of sailors around the world sail smarter. Support our work by hitting subscribe and stick around to hear how you can get exclusive perks by booking directly with us. So the first thing that we're going to look at is to make sure that you get your booking correct. And it's really vital that you get this step right if you want to make sure you have a great time together on board. So the booking process might look a little different if you're looking to plan a number of cabins together. And this is especially important if you're booking a larger group. Now, most of the time when you're booking your Virgin Voyages vacation, you can either book direct on the Virgin Voyages website, or you can work with a first mate or a travel agent. Well, when it comes to booking multiple cabins or booking as a group, this is where booking direct with Virgin Voyages on their website maybe isn't the best way forward. And that's down to a few reasons, but the most important reason is really down to price. There are deals and offers available when you book multiple cabins together, and a first mate are in a really unique position to be able to navigate that to make sure you get the best deal so you're not spending too much money. We ourselves here at VV Insider have already worked with a number of groups, including birthdays and wedding trips, and have helped them secure great offers, but have also managed to help them in ways that you wouldn't necessarily expect, including simple things like making sure your group cabins are all bundled together so that when you're done for the night, you all head in one direction. It's simple things like that that can make the experience on board so much better. So I'd always recommend booking with an expert, but especially if you're wanting to book more than one cabin. So head over to vvinsider.com/book and use the inquiry form there to let us know what your plans are, and we'll make sure we can help you in the best way we possibly can. With some of the larger groups, you actually get some included perks like some exclusive onboard dining and also price protection on offers and deals until everyone is ready to pay their deposit. Like I say, there's a number of ways that groups can be helped during the booking process. As soon as we know what your group looks like, we can make sure we give you the right advice. This also leads me on to tip number 2, which is to align your group expectations before you sail. And we can say this with some authority. We've traveled with large groups in the past, and it's really important to realize that some members of a group may want to do different things than others, or maybe just bring a different vibe on board. I feel like I say every time on these videos that you can really choose the vibe that you like on Virgin Voyages. So whether you're a night owl and you like the nightlife and you like partying, or if you prefer a chilled and laid back vibe, everything is possible on Virgin Voyages. And that doesn't need to stop just because you're traveling in a larger group. It's very possible, even if you're sailing with multiple cabins, that individuals in those cabins might want a different vacation during the sailing. And because there's so many options and what to do on board, that is perfectly possible, whilst also making sure that everyone remains part of the group. So what I would really recommend is to make sure everyone in your group has a good understanding of what's available on board Virgin Voyages. One of the best ways to do that is to make sure that you're looking at expert resources. As well, you know, the #1 expert resource is vvinsider.com, where we list off a huge amount of information that you'll need to know for your sailing, including all of the events that you're expecting to see on board the ship. We also list off all of the restaurants and all of the bars, including the menus as well. Of course, all of that information can be a little overwhelming, so that's why we produce videos like this that introduce individual aspects of sailing with Virgin Voyages one step at a time. So if you're managing and planning a group yourself, you may want to send links to individual guides and pages on vvinsider.com to your group, and also encourage them to subscribe to this channel. And while you're at it, you can of course subscribe yourself. That way you'll get notified when guides like this come out. But also every 2 weeks we have a Virgin Voyages Insider update where we tell you all of the news and changes that are happening on board the ships as well. And this is a really good way to get excited for your next vacation coming up. One other thing I would recommend is to join the Facebook group that's connected to your individual sailing. So over on Facebook, sailors will set their own community of individuals up that are looking forward to an individual sailing. This way you can talk about plans, excursions, ports and trips, and also share questions and tips about your upcoming voyage with people that will be joining you on that voyage. You may also meet some new people before you even set sail. If you're looking for the individual Facebook group for your sailing, we've made it super easy. If you head over to vvinsider.com and hit the FB groups link, there'll be a huge list of all the sailings that are coming up in the future, each with an individual Facebook group link associated with it. If your sailing is maybe far into the future, there may not be a Facebook group yet. You're very welcome to set a Facebook group up and manage it yourself, and share the link with us so we can list it on our site. Tip number 3 is to sort logistics out early. This is because there's multiple risks associated with going on one of these voyages even before you arrive at the port. For example, it's not uncommon to see flights getting delayed or cancelled. If you're relying on a train like the Brightline, they too can be cancelled or fall victim to maintenance problems. Or you might run into some personal problems like forgetting a passport or something important. That's why we always recommend arriving to the port city the day before you travel. And this is especially useful and fun if you're part of a big group, because it means that you're able to coordinate and get together for a celebratory meal and a drink before you set off the day after. It's also really useful at this point to set up some sort of group communication between you all. This will always really depend on the technology that your group has available to them. If everyone's on Facebook, you may want to use Facebook Messenger. If everyone has iPhones, you might just want to use FaceTime and the messaging app. Or one thing that's really useful in Europe especially, because many groups have a mixture of iPhones and Android phones, is to use WhatsApp. That's a perfect place to talk about plans and talk about what's coming up on the voyage. This will also become really useful when you're on board the ship to try and find members of your party when they're around the ship. And on that same topic, before you get on board, you might want to establish a meeting point where everyone gets together, maybe at a particular time during the day, but also if you're meeting up before you head out to port, for example. Personally, our group tends to use On the Rocks at the bottom of the roundabout if we're all meeting up before we head out for the day. Now onto tip number 4, and this is possibly one of the most important ones, and this all comes to dining and reservations. So dining reservations really is its own topic, as there's a lot to cover, and we do have a video on this channel which talks all about dining reservations. But here are a few things that are really good to know when it comes to traveling in a larger group. The first thing to do is to make sure that you're all connected in the mobile app. Once you've got your booking reference, you're able to log into your Virgin Voyages account on the mobile app. Once you're logged into your sailing on the mobile app, look at the bottom of the screen, and along the bottom, you'll see a button that says Messenger. When you tap on that button, you'll see another button that says Contact. If you head to that button, you'll be given a QR code which you can use with other people in your group to link your voyages together. What that will mean is when you're ready to make your bookings for dining, you will see everyone together, a list of faces with everyone in the group. You simply select faces from this list when you're booking your dining, and everyone will be dining on the same table. As you well know, this will mean very little unless there are actual dining reservation spots available. Again, if you're looking for hints and tips on making sure you get those dining reservations, head over to our booking dining video. One really good thing to know if you're traveling in a group is that if just one of your bookings has a higher dining reservation window, you'll be able to make group bookings from that date with cabins that have a lower dining reservation window. So let me explain. Let's say you have a group of 5 cabins, and 4 of those cabins have booked a base rate fare, which means they're only able to book dining 15 days out from the sailing, which means that most, if not all, of those larger tables will already have been reserved by other people. But let's say that 1 out of 5 has booked a Rockstar suite. in which case their dining window is 120 days out. So they're able to snag tables 120 days out from the voyage. Well, if you're all connected on the app like I just mentioned, those rock stars will be able to book a table for everyone, regardless of the fact that those individuals wouldn't be able to choose their own dining until 15 days out. You're actually able to reserve everyone a table 120 days out. This also applies if you're on the essential or the premium fare, where your dining window would be 45 days or 60 days respectively. This is a really good perk, and it just proves it's nice to have friends in high places. One thing to mention is that there is a limit to how many people you can book on a table just using the app. So if you're looking for a much larger group booking, you may want to speak directly to the restaurant managers when you get on board the ship. There are much larger tables in the test kitchen and Pink Agave, and in the Wake, which is the steakhouse on board, there are actually 2 areas which effectively give you a private dining area for larger groups. Again, if you're looking to secure one of those spaces, it's worth making sure you speak to restaurant reservations as early as you can when you get on board. It will really help, of course, if you're a rock star or a mega rock star and you have a rock star agent to be able to ask for this on your behalf. You might have a little more success. Now on to tip number 5, which is all about how to make sure you use your bar tab and budgeting to make sure you're not spending too much money on board. One thing to mention here is that bar tabs are not transferable around cabins. If you're in a cabin, you can share a bar tab together by connecting your onboard accounts together, but you're not able to do that across different cabins. If you want to use your bar tab to buy other people drinks, you're able to do that, but you will need to be in the same place at the same time, as you will need to tap your band in order to make the charge. One thing that works really well on Virgin Voyages during dining is that you don't need to worry about bill splitting, because each individual person at the table will be charged for their drinks individually. You don't need to ask for this to happen, it will happen automatically. When they're taking your drink order, what they're actually doing on the device is putting that drink order against you as an individual, so you will be charged for your drinks. Of course, if you want to cover the cost for somebody else's drink, you can simply ask them, but by default, the bills are split anyway. So you don't need to worry about this if you're dining in a big group. As ever, if you're looking to make the most out of your bar tab, we have a bar tab calculator on vvinsider.com where you can put the information for your sailing and how many drinks you see yourself having on average per day, and we calculate how much bar tab is best to put on your account to save the most money possible. That's a completely free tool that's available to sailors around the world. Now, tip number 6 is all about planning one anchor moment during every day on your voyage. This is a really nice way to make it feel like you're not having forced fun every single day, because you're just planning one simple event per day. It makes things a lot easier for everyone. This means that everyone in your group can feel free to explore the ship independently and do their own activities, but you still have that planned event during each day. So a few examples of what you might want to do. Everyone might want to meet together at the grounds club for morning coffee together. If it's a warm weather sailing, you might want to meet up together on the pool deck in the afternoon. Or perhaps you might want to organize pre-dinner drinks at one of the bars. But remember, each day on the ship is going to be different. So you might have days where you're going to a particular port. You might want to organize a shore thing or an excursion together. You may also have a sea day coming up where there's tons of happenings events going on around the ship. So you might want to choose some of these happening events to do together as a group. And of course, you've also got the big themed nights. So depending on which ship you're on, you might have some themed nights that have a dress-up theme that you might all want to get involved with and have a really good time as a group. And regardless of which ship you're on, you're always going to have things like the PJ party and Scarlet Night. These events in particular are so much fun to do as a larger group because it means you can do things like coordinating outfits or simply just enjoying the themed night together. If you're looking for any more information on which events are coming up on your sailing, head over to vvinsider.com and tap on events. And you'll see exactly which events, including the themed events, that are coming up for your particular sailing on your particular ladyship. There are tons of different tips that we could give you while traveling as a group if you want to plan things meticulously. But in our experience, about 70 to 80% of all of our voyages have been with other sailors as part of a group. I would recommend just planning things enough. Don't over-engineer it. Don't force a particular schedule on your group of friends, especially if it's one of your first times on Virgin Voyages, because the likelihood is everyone will still be discovering things for themselves. It'll be very difficult to have a regimented schedule when you're sailing for the first time. I would really recommend you to encourage everyone in your group to do a little bit of research themselves by watching videos like this and looking at which venues and events to expect on your sailing, and decide what type of things that you'd all like to do together. And not forgetting there's plenty of things to do on board without having to plan and pre-prepare, including live events that you can simply show up to and all enjoy together as well. But like I say, if you've got plans coming up that involve more than one cabin, I do recommend you get in touch with some voyage experts like ourselves to make sure we navigate that booking process, because that will be the most important thing to get right before you head off onto your sailing. If you want to learn more about that and also support the work that we do here at VV Insider, which is to get all of this information and free tools out to everyone around the world, then head over to vvinsider.com/book and you can find out more about the exclusive perks that you can get by booking or linking your next Virgin voyage through us. Thank you so much for coming along. I'll be back next week with our Virgin Voyages Insider update. And there is a ton of news this time. So make sure you stay subscribed to this channel, and I'll be back next Saturday. Looking forward to seeing you then, and happy sailing.